Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Shalom. This is Watchman's Voice, Remnant and Martyrs. Watchman's Voice, Remnant and Martyrs by Symmanayah. My brothers and sisters, if you're tuning in for the first time, you will come to know that these messages are to Yashar'al, nation of believers. Yashar'al, nation of believers. And this new series, which I've begun, that's entitled Watchman's Voice, Remnant and Martyrs, the words are specifically designated to those who will be remnant of Yashar'al and martyrs of Yashar'al in these last days, these end times. Today is October 30th, 2013. If you're tuning in for the first time, you will come to know that Yashar'al, nation of believers, of whom I reference, are all kindreds and tongues, all nations, kindreds and tongues, who seek to worship and obey the Almighty Father, Creator, Almighty Yahuwah, and accept Yahusha as Yahuwah's word manifest in the flesh, as our Mashiach, as our Messiah. For we are made one into the body of Yashar'al by the sacrifice and resurrection of Yahusha, our Mashiach, our Messiah. With that said, this is installment 5 for Yashar'al, commonly known as Israel. Greetings again, my brothers and sisters. Are we in the last days? Have end times come upon us? Do you think that the anti-Mashiach, anti-Messiah, is alive today? Could the false prophet mentioned in the book of Revelation be living today? Is it possible they will soon be revealed? What about the two witnesses of Revelation? Are they alive today? Are they walking the planet waiting for the time for their ministry to unfold? Who are these individuals? Is it possible they will soon be revealed? How close are we to the tribulation period, or are we in it? Will the tribulation period last 3.5 years or 7 years? Could the restraint mentioned in 1 Thessalonians 2, 7 through 10, which I will read in a moment, be indicating until Yashar'al is moved to a safe place, the lawless one won't be revealed? When rivers bleed and fire fall, are these the things we're waiting for before intensely seeking to worship and obey? Are we waiting for rivers to turn to blood? Are we waiting for rivers to bleed? Are we waiting to witness fire fall before we seek to discern and respond to the living guidance and instruction of the Spirit of Yahusha? Who are you waiting and expecting to see, or what are you waiting to see before being motivated to seek earnestly the Most High Father Yahuwah and His will and purpose for your life? Now let me read that which I had mentioned about 1 Thessalonians 2, 7 through 10. It reads as follows: For the secret of lawlessness is already at work. The secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now restrains come out of the midst. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders and falsehood, and with all deceit and unrighteousness, and those perishing because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, there are many faiths and beliefs out there that believe that until he who now restrains come out of the midst, 2 Thessalonians 2, 7, and I think earlier I said 1 Thessalonians 2, 7 through 10. It's 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 7 through 10. 2 Thessalonians. Specifically, verse 7, chapter 2, verse 7, that says, the part that says, only until he who now restrains come out of the midst. There are many faiths and beliefs that use that to say that the believers of the Most High will be raptured, and that the lawless one cannot be revealed until they are raptured, caught up into the sky. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, to strongly seek and pray and ask the Most High Father to give you discernment. And ask, could this mean until Yashar'al is placed in a location that has been designed by the Most High Father for them, for the remnant of Yashar'al to be in that safe place? Will we see Yashar'al in that safe place before the lawless one? Will such a prophecy come to be? Also remember Revelation 11:7 speaks of the beast coming out of the pit. It reads as follows, and when they have ended their witness, the beast coming out of the pit of the deep shall fight against them and overcome them and kill them. Keep in mind also 1 Thessalonians 5:9, because Elohim did not appoint us to wrath, but to obtain deliverance through our Master Mashiach Yahusha. And keep in mind also 1 Thessalonians 5:17, which says, pray without ceasing. So I want to bring your attention back to 1 Thessalonians 5:9, which says that Elohim have not appointed us to wrath. Could this mean, my brothers and sisters, Yashar'al as a whole will be put in place in an area that is safe for them until such time as the return of the Mashiach? Could the gathering of Yashar'al from the four corners of earth result in the restraints being removed and the lawless one is revealed? Pray, my brothers, pray and seek discernment to see. Are these words true? Is there any life in what I'm suggesting? Many of us know by now there are four major individuals listed in scriptures regarding these last days. These individuals are critical in fulfilling end-time prophecies, and they are the two witnesses of Revelation, the anti-Messiah, who is the beast or represents the beast, and the false prophets. Let's face it, we are a stiff-necked people, very stubborn and rebellious. Many have taken a show-me position and only wait for physical proof before deciding to take a course of action. Regardless of the stories and examples given in scriptures, we are still rebellious and continue to be overtaken by unbelief. I will present several characteristics of these end times individuals, two of which will be manipulated by Satan or Shaitan, and two that are chosen by the Most High Father Yahuwah and led by his set-apart spirit sent in Yahushua's name. I ask the question, are we waiting to see proof in or evidence of these individuals before we decide on a course of action? Are we waiting on the mark of the beast to begin rollout, so to speak, and come to our doorsteps, forcing us to choose a side? Are we waiting for a specific number of people to begin running about reacting to more obvious evidence that we are in the end times? I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, those who wait too late to attempt to learn the voice of our Mashiach, our Messiah, will find themselves caught right smack in the middle of population congestion. Let's examine the scriptures on these individuals. Two witnesses of Revelation reads Zechariah 4:14, and Zechariah asked the Most High, who are these two anointed ones? And he responded, 4:14 reads, and he said, these are the two anointed ones who stand beside the master of all the earth. That's Zechariah 4:14. Revelation chapter 11 verses 3 through 12 reads as follows. And he said, these are the and I shall give unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days clad in sackcloth. Keep in mind, when the two witnesses of Revelation do emerge, my brothers and sisters, the countdown begins, because Scripture specifically says their ministry will last 1,260 days. This is indeed 3.5 years. Revelation 11:4 goes on to say, these are the two olive trees and the two lampstands that are standing before the Elohim of the earth. And if anyone wishes to harm them, fire comes out of their mouth and consumes their enemies. And if anyone wishes to harm them, he has to be killed in that way. These possess authority to shut the heavens so that no rain falls in the days of their prophecy, and they possess authority over waters to turn them to blood and smite the earth with all plagues as often as they wish. It goes on to read in the 7th verse, and when they have ended their witness, the beast coming out of the pit of the deep shall fight against them and overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom or Mitzrayim, where also our master was impaled. And some of the peoples and tribes and tongues and nations see their dead bodies for 3.5 days and not allow their dead bodies to be placed into the tomb. And those dwelling on the earth rejoice over them and exult, and they shall send gifts to each other, because these two prophets tortured those dwelling on the earth. And after the 3.5 days, a spirit of life from Elohim entered into them, and they stood up upon their feet, and great fear fell upon those who saw them. And they heard a loud voice from the heaven saying to them, come up here. And they went into the heaven in a cloud, and the enemies saw them. This was Revelation chapter 11, verses 3 through 12, regarding the two witnesses, the two anointed of the Mashiach. As far as the anti-Messiah and false prophet, 1 John 2:18 reads as follows. Little children, it is the last hour, and you have heard that the anti-Messiah is coming. Even now many anti-Messiahs have come. This is how we know that it is the last hour. Revelation 13:4 through 18 reads, and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Revelation 16:13 reads, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. Revelation 19:20 reads, and the beast was taken with him, the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. My brothers and sisters, I have presented portions of scriptures regarding end-time prophecy individuals. Many of us probably are saying, well, I've witnessed famine before, but I'm really waiting to see it more widespread. You know, there are types and shadows out there. There are others who will probably say, drought is no big thing. I've seen that before. Rains will come and replenish the rivers and water tables. The same probably has been said about plagues and disease. I am compelled that the enemy has fabricated many false flags to mimic end-time prophecies or to replicate end-time prophecies, such that it has caused many of us to become desensitized or unaware when true end-time prophecies are emerging. I have no doubt that these and other excuses are and will continue to be used to defend our slothfulness, our laziness, to pursue with intensity the voice of our Mashiach, our Messiah, Yahushua. So we have and will continue to dismiss things, to fall victim of unbelief, to participate in rebellion. Some of us are doing it unaware of our actions. Let us be mindful of the Spirit of Yahushua and come to discern and understand what is expected of us. On the other hand, scriptures mention of two witnesses. They possess authority over waters to turn them to blood. And if anyone wishes to harm them, fire comes out from their mouth and consumes their enemies. And if anyone wishes to harm them, he has to be killed in that way. Now, my brothers and sisters, now that will be a sight. I think a lot of people are saying, well, that's the sight worth waking up to see. That's the sight I'm waiting to see. Fire fall at the mouth of the two witnesses of Revelation. Or when I constantly see rivers bleed. Yeah, we've seen some false flags of some rivers turning red with man's excuses. But what happens when we see the demonstration of the two witnesses systematically causing the rivers to turn to blood in such a way that there would be no doubt it is at the hand of the Almighty Father? Is that what we're waiting for? When rivers bleed and fire fall? Do you think the religious community will have something to say about their powers once they become evident? Yes, I said the religious community. Are we waiting? Are we really waiting to see when rivers bleed and fire fall? I do believe there are and will be others awaiting the implementation of the mark of the beast instead, the arrival of the anti-Messiah and the false prophet before stepping up their degree of sincerity, their degree of intensity to worship and pursue obedience to the Most High. How many of us have given thought to what the face of the planet will resemble once these end-time individuals are obvious, are mostly seen and visible by the masses on this planet? How many have given thought to what that would do to the people of the planet? Allow me to share some excerpts from the internet. Two excerpts I'd like to bring to mind. Here's a study that was done, and it reads as follows, this excerpt. A comprehensive demographic study of more than 200 countries finds that there are 2.18 billion, and it used the heathen term that is used to try to hide the Messiah's true name, so I won't echo that, but 2.18 billion of all ages around the world, represent nearly a third of the estimated 2010 global population, which was at 6.9 billion. So a third of the people on the planet are following the largest religious body on the planet, and it would not take you long to determine the label for that body. I am compelled to abstain from mentioning that label, but that is my conviction, my brothers and sisters. There's also an estimated 1.6 billion of the second largest religious body around the world, making Islam the world's second largest religious tradition after the other one. According to the December 2012 Global Religious Landscape Report from the Pew Research Center Forum on Religion and Public Life. Excuse me. Now let's do the math. Two of the largest religious bodies on the planet, one 2.18 billion and another 1.6 billion. This equals, if you add the two up, 3.78 billion people. This, my brothers and sisters, represents more than half the people on the planet who represent these two religious bodies. Both of these believe and promote some form of end-time prophecy, with different spins on what will actually occur. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, those who are alive when these things come to be will scramble like nothing we've ever witnessed before on earth. Why? Because it will become evidence and proof that this is the last hours, the last days for man as we know it in these earthen bodies as it has been written. This is the final go round. The chains and trends and cycles come to an end. Judgment Day would be right around the corner. So, my brothers and sisters, there will be those who will rally towards the two witnesses of Revelation, and of course there will be those who will flee from them. Not to mention those who may be rejected from them. There will be those who will rally towards the anti-Messiah and false prophet, and of course those that will flee from them as well. Not to mention those rejected of them. Which directions and or where will people go once these individuals become evident? What will be the best and or safest place to be during these times? As you can see, the possibility of 3.78 billion people scrambling to get somewhere, or either to and or away from somewhere, or to someone, all at the span of a specific time, with much excitement and many emotions flying. Keep in mind, my brothers and sisters, end-time prophecy still foretells of famine, drought, pestilence, and disease, indicating these will be present while these individuals come to the surface. My brothers and sisters, who has given thought to what the airport will resemble? The possible congestion at the train stations or train depot, crowded highways and freeways, not to mention the mental and or spiritual state of people during these critical times. And all while these things are occurring, our infrastructures will continue to crumble. Things like bridges and roads will give way and become inaccessible. It is highly possible that many electric grids will begin to fail. People will run out of fuel or gas in various areas along the way. Water filtration systems probably will collapse during these times. And much more, my brothers and sisters, much, much more like the world have never seen before. My brothers and sisters, this is not, I repeat, not some scare tactic. These things are real and will come to be. There is no escaping such events save for one who will die and or sleep. I strongly encourage each and every one of us to come to realize this is all too real. Choose wisely whom you will serve this day. I pray that none of us are overtaken with unbelief. I pray that none of us choose a route of rebellion against the living instructions, guidance, reproof, discipline, and or judgment from the Spirit of Yahushua. It would be a terrible thing to fall into the path of the wrath of the Most High. Yes, my brothers and sisters, this is a time for much prayer, much studying. This is a time for developing a ready mind, for soon and very soon it will become more obvious. Many by now, if not, have already begun to ask questions. What must I be doing during these times? Where am I to go? Who should I listen to? Where are the true leaders of the Most High? And probably many other questions similar to these will be asked. My brothers and sisters, I am compelled to believe that there are living instructions and guidance presented by the Spirit of Yahushua. I am compelled that those who will make up the remnant of Yashar'al will be gathered in the state of Virginia, and I have mentioned this all too often, so it is no secret. I am compelled that believers across the globe will assemble at the outermost borders of their prospective countries, and that there will be appointed leaders to guide them as Yashar'al, as the remnant of Yashar'al is gathered from the four corners of the earth. I am compelled to believe we will witness messengers, visible, complete with proof from the Almighty Father as to where to go and when. My words to you, my brothers and sisters, is prepare. Prepare by praying and studying and seeking out righteous guidance by those who are led by the Spirit of Yahushua. My prayer, my brothers and sisters, is to develop a ready mind so that we know when that time comes. And again, I say those in the United States strongly consider when the time comes, and we will know it. I am compelled to believe it will not be once the two witnesses arrive. It will not be once the anti-Mashiach and false prophets are obvious. I'm compelled to believe, my brothers and sisters, we will see the assembling of the remnant and the fortification of those who would be martyrs, who will be instructed to stay in place and echo the last and final words towards the path of righteousness. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we ask many questions. What are we doing? I'm compelled to believe that this generation will witness the final days before the Messiah, Yahushua's return. I am compelled to believe it will be sooner, much sooner than most of us care to imagine. Pray and watch. Man is reaching peak levels of wickedness on many fronts, from moral standards to polluting the planet to population reduction protocol, where they are forcibly implementing schemes and strategies to kill off large amounts of the population, to their pursuit of greed. Peak levels are emerging. Thresholds are emerging. Thresholds of wickedness. Low food inventories will be one of the most devastating things to face. I ask you again, are we waiting to see when rivers bleed and fire fall? How much preparation time do you think people will have trying to study and or learn the voice of the Spirit of Yahushua once these things begin to occur? Where will Yashar'al, the remnant, be? Or where will the martyrs be stationed during these times? Will you be one of those who are left behind, or that is overtaken with unbelief and rebellion? Will you be among those who will fall away, as stated in prophecy? 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3 reads, "Let no one deceive you in any way, because the falling away is to come first, and the man of lawlessness is to be revealed, the son of destruction." When rivers bleed and fire fall, I pray that this does not describe your position before intensely seeking to identify the living instructions and guidance from the Spirit of Yahushua. I pray that none of us are waiting for those who will be used by Satan, specifically the anti-Messiah, the beast, who is the beast, and the false prophet, to appear before we begin to act. Again, choose wisely whom you will hear and obey this day. Choose wisely whose name you will call on this day. There are no buttons for rewinding, pausing, or stopping what is emerging, my brothers and sisters. Each passing day brings us closer to the Mashiach's return. Soon it will all be over as we know it. And let me share this last verse. Habakkuk 1:5 says, "Look among the nations and see. Be amazed. Be amazed, for a work is being wrought in your days which you would not believe if it were told." I ask you, what have been told to you? The remnant and those who would be martyrs will be informed and raised up like never before witness. Pray and watch. Let us recap, my brothers and sisters. Let us recap this series entitled Watchman's Voice, Remnant and Martyrs. The first segment was about identity. The identity of Yashar'al from an individual and collective perspective. The second segment was about discover the Spirit of Yahushua, for this is important in order to prepare for these challenging times. The third segment was living instructions and guidance. How can we get through each day, each moment, lest we be aware of the living guidance and instruction from the Spirit of Yahushua, lest we not know who we are. The fourth segment, what's to come? Addressing real issues, real challenges that we face in the complexity of this journey. In the fifth installment, my brothers and sisters, which we have come to wrap up, the fifth installment, when rivers bleed and fire fall, is this segment that we are finishing. I pray, my brothers and sisters, that you are compelled to stay tuned, for I will continue towards delivering all that has been given to me and guided to me to present to the remnant and martyrs of Yashar'al. Stay tuned, for the sixth segment will be following this message soon, my brothers and sisters. Pray that you're able to receive discernment and understanding. Receive what is right, reject what is wicked. Pray that your rulings are righteous and that you do not succumb to unbelief and rebellion. Until next time, my family, my brothers and sisters, be encouraged. Know this, it is the plan of the Almighty Father, Yahuwah, that is unfolding. Until next time, my brothers, my sisters, my family, shalom, shalom, shalom.